What's up, Vape fam? So today I'm going to show you how to make one of the hardest builds that I've ever done. But the outcome of our hard work is going to pay off greatly. Flavor and clouds are amazing on this build. It's definitely not for beginners. It took me a while to get this build down, but it pays off. It's called Alien Wire. You can't really see the detail too much on this camera, but I will show you some pictures of some close-ups at the end, and we'll go from there. So let me go through what you're going to need to do this build, okay? So you will be needing some 32 gauge Canthal, some 26 gauge Canthal, and a power drill. You will also need, obviously, an RDA, two 2mm screwdrivers, and obviously some cotton and juice. So let's get going. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take our 26 gauge Canthal. I'm going to take about 3 feet of this stuff. So about an arm's length, depending on how long your arms are. Okay. So now we're going to take our 3 feet of 26 gauge Canthal and straighten it out. I put that right in the center of the drill, clamp it down. And I'm going to use my toothless needle-nose pliers. Just grab it at the very end, stretch it out so it's straight, and we're going to about 5 seconds of twist on that. And what I do is I leave about 8 inches on the drill itself. Now with the rest of it, we're going to do 3 strands of about 8 inches as well. So for now, your 3 strands, just put them to the side. We'll be using those in just a bit. So now we're going to take our 32 gauge Canthal, and with this you're going to want about 3 feet, or I'm sorry, 3 arms lengths. So 1, 2, 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up. Why is it? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up this just a little bit. Make sure this doesn't get bendy. We're going to use it to clamp in the 32 gauge. So what I do is I just wrap the very end of this 1 or 2 times so that it anchors onto the 26 gauge. Pop it in there. Make sure this is straight, or as straight as you can get it. And we're going to clamp in it. So however, if it's clockwise or counterclockwise, just remember how you clapped in that, because that's going to play into how we're going to do the alien wire a little later. So I'm going to go clockwise to clap in it. So let's get this done real quick. So now you have that 8 inches of Clapton 26 gauge wrapped with the 32 gauge. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to take our needle nose pliers and take out the piece of 24 gauge. Take out the core. It should slide out just like that. So now you're left with the outer, just the Clapton part. It's real springy. Next, we're going to set that down for just a second. Now we're going to go back to our 3 pieces of 26 gauge. We're going to put them into the drill bit, and we're going to try to make that so that all 3 of them are as parallel as possible. Got a little tight, not that much. So let's go back to this springy Clapton spring something. Pull it apart. I want to pull it out until you kind of feel that tension so that you can't pull it anymore. And you're going to be left with this really unique piece of wire, but I'll show you what's going to happen right now. Now, loosen this up just a little bit. Try not to let that happen. So I'm going to do the same thing I did when we clapped in the first coil. I'm just going to wrap the end a little bit. Insert and make sure to grab the 32 gauge. Get it pretty tight on there. So now I'm going to switch views so you can see real close up what's going to happen next. Okay, so remember how I told you to remember how you clapped in the coil, whether it was clockwise or counterclockwise. I did mine counterclockwise, so now it's very important that you do the opposite. So we're going to do counterclockwise. I'm going to change it. We're going to do that. Now, just to make things easier on me, I'm going to cut this little piece off. Just like that. So what I do, you want to go really slow. So it's just like Claptoning a coil, except you can't go as fast. You really have to pay attention to how the piece of wire is kind of wrapping and how close it is to itself as it's going around. So let's start this. Usually takes me a few spins in order to get into the groove, and then you can go a little faster, but you really don't want to go too fast on this wire. And if you start to get gaps in it as you go, you can just it'll still be pretty springy, so you can kind of just push it together. And once you find the pace, just stick to that pace and don't stop. Just keep going. Alright, so not perfect, but it's enough to make a coil. That's the final product. There's some unusable parts, but there is parts that are going to be awesome. So let's build a coil. Alright, so what I did was on both sides there was a little bit of the 3 strands sticking out. So once I pulled it out of the drill bit, I folded them on each side and I kind of sprung everything tightly together. And I twisted the ends so that it wouldn't just unspring on me. And what you're going to be left with is that doesn't look that neat, but once we wrap it, it's going to look awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2mm drill bit, and you don't need too much of a lead. I'm going to wrap this 4 times. All right. 1, 2. All right, so that's what you kind of want to end up with right there. Okay. so there's one coil. So let's cut this off. Hopefully it doesn't unspring on us. It shouldn't at this point. Nope, we're good. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of cut a little bit of that. We're going to loosen up about that much and expose the 3 strands of the core. Clip it off. Actually, we're going to want to do a little more than that. Just like that. Same thing on this end. So today I'm going to be building this on the REM RDA. It's a 3-post atomizer with round holes. Kind of twist the leads so that they're easy to fit in. This thing has really big holes, so it can take pretty massive wires. Alright, so we'll start. Okay, let's wrap these tight. So the lead that you're going to be putting into the center post, you're going to want to get that really tight because remember we're going to be putting another coil in here. So you're going to want to have enough room to put 2 coils, 2 leads in there. Okay, that looks better. Get it as close to the post as you can. Tighten this one up. I'm going to tighten this just a little bit so I can clean it up a little bit. pull it up just a bit. Kind of bring it to the center a little bit, but it doesn't need to be too centered. There we go, that's what you want. Nice even glow from the inside out. Awesome. Alright, so we got one coil in and it's firing nicely. Let's get rid of these leads. Beautiful. So let's untighten that center post. I've already pre-twisted my other coil, but it will need some cleaning up, and we'll do that while it's on the RDA. Alright, like I said, just like the other one, as close to the post as you can. Let's tighten up that center one. Pull it up. Let's give it a fire. Still burning off some juice in there. Okay. Push this together. That's what you want right there. So I'm going to throw this on a mod, see what it clocks in at. Actually, that one can be a little higher. There we go. That's nice. One can be a little higher too. I want to make sure height's the same for both coils. And that's what you want right there. That's perfect. Okay. Alright, so we're going to throw this on the Snow Wolf 200. See what she clocks in at. Is this a new atomizer? Yes. 0.07. That's going out to all you sub-ohmers out there. Alright. She's wicked and she's juiced up. ready for action. So I'm going to put this at, let's do 140 watts, see what happens. Put the cap on. My favorite build to date. Favorite. It's not easy, but once you get it down, you're going to fall in love with it. That's solid. Alright, well, you guys have a great day. Subscribe to the channel, like it, leave your comments.